The summer heatwave had turned Jake's small town into a dust bowl. The once lush fields around his farmhouse were now cracked and barren. Livelihoods were drying up, and the nightly news was no comfort. It seemed the drought was here to stay. But Jake wasn't the type to sit around waiting for a miracle. He had read about a fringe theory online, something called cloud busting. Inspired by Wilhelm Reich's banned research into orgone energy, Jake decided he'd try to summon rain himself. His neighbours already thought he was eccentric, so what was one more reason for them to gawk? With salvaged copper pipes, old water buckets and some duct tape, Jake built a contraption that looked like a cross between a steampunk art project and a science fair disaster. According to the instructions he found on a deep web forum, the device would draw orgone energy from the atmosphere and disrupt cloud formations, encouraging rain. Jake wasn't entirely sure if it would work, but desperation outweighed skepticism. The first night, Jake wheeled his contraption into the field. Pointing the copper pipes at the cloudless sky, he turned on the generator powering the water circulation system. At first, nothing happened, just the hum of his rig and the chirping of crickets. But then the air grew strangely heavy. The stillness of the night felt unnatural, and the distant hum of cicadas abruptly stopped. He chalked it up to nerves and continued adjusting the device. Within an hour, clouds began to form out of nowhere. Thin wisps at first, then large, dense formations rolled in. Jake stood in awe as the stars disappeared behind a dark grey curtain. The air smelled electric, and a cool breeze swept through the field. He laughed triumphantly. Guess Reich wasn't so crazy after all. But his celebration was cut short when the clouds turned an unnatural greenish hue and the wind began to howl. Lightning cracked violently across the sky, striking closer to his field than it should have. The rain came, but it wasn't the gentle drizzle Jake had hoped for. It was torrential, almost as if the heavens were angry. Suddenly, Jake heard a low rumble, not from the sky, but from the earth itself. The copper pipes on his contraption began to vibrate uncontrollably, emitting a strange, high-pitched whine. The buckets of water glowed faintly, and then the pipes shot out a beam of light into the sky, disappearing into the clouds. From that point, everything was chaos. The rain intensified, flooding the field within minutes. The sky seemed to churn like a living thing, and shapes, impossible, shifting shapes, appeared within the clouds. Jake panicked and yanked the plug on his generator, but the machine kept humming as if powered by something far beyond electricity. Then came the voices, faint but growing louder, speaking in a language Jake didn't recognize. Shadows swirled in the downpour, and the shapes in the clouds became clearer. They weren't human, and whatever they were, they didn't seem pleased. When it was over, the storm dissipated as suddenly as it had begun, leaving Jake's field a muddy wasteland. His contraption was scorched and twisted. The copper pipes melted into unrecognizable lumps. The neighbors claimed they'd seen strange lights over Jake's farm and heard the thunder, though the sky had been clear where they were. Jake never tried cloud busting again. Whether he tapped into something real or simply meddled with forces he didn't understand, he couldn't say. But every so often, when the sky turns green and the wind picks up just so, he swears he hears those voices again, carried on the storm. Do you think Jake's experiment uncovered a forbidden truth, or was it just a freak coincidence? Let me know your thoughts, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more stories that explore the edge of the unknown.